Welcome, and thank you for spending some of your time with us. My name is Tina Rosenquist, and this is Knowledge for Wellness. And this show is to better inform you, because when you know more, you are empowered to make better decisions for yourself and your loved ones for a better quality of life. And knowledge is power, and today's topic is on aging in place. And I'm delighted to present 5 members from the Minnesota chapter of the National Aging in Place Council. Now, questions we'll be asking are, who does aging in place serve? And why is aging in place important? And what has happened in society that makes aging in place important now? Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining Knowledge for Wellness. And I'd really like for all of you to tell my viewers about yourself and why you're even part of this aging in place. Jeff, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Tina.
Yes.
I work for Senior Helpers, an in-home assistance provider, and I also am a public health researcher and practitioner, and I created the Minnesota chapter along with the members of the other organizations that are affiliated to increase public awareness about aging in place services and solutions.
Nice. Great.
And I'm Alyssa Boroff. I'm with Access Solutions, a division of Augustana Care, and I'm a universal design consultant and accessibility consultant. And I help people to modify their homes so that they can make them more user-friendly and comfortable for them.
Very nice. And Jerry?
Yes, Jerry Bees, certified long-term care planner, and I'm licensed in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Very nice.
Hi, Dina. I'm Joy Gullickson, and I'm an attorney with the firm of Mesa Amundsen & Price, one of the oldest elder law firms in the state. And we assist people with getting their estate plans organized and ensuring that the people that they have, helping them with their decisions, are doing it in the right way.
Nice.
Tina, I'm Kathy Harmon, and I have a company called Great Places, Inc., and I'm a certified senior advisor.
Nice. Okay, well, of course, the first question that we want to ask is, what is aging in place? And I believe you have that one.
I do.
Nice.
Aging in place is about choices. It's about living in your own home, wherever that might be. We often say it could be a 2-story home in the suburbs, a townhome, a condo, an apartment, an assisted living site. But included in that is then maybe you have some features and some services that might help you to live more safely and comfortably. But the other thing we really emphasize is aging in place is about all ages. You could be 30, 40, 60, 90 and needing some support or needing some help. The other thing we really emphasize is we're all aging. We've all been aging since the day we were born. So it's not just about older adults, it's about everybody.
Yeah.
And it's also about up until the end of life. About half of people today die in their own home. So there's no reason why with services you can't spend the rest of your life in your home as long as you prepare early and equip yourself with what your loved ones need.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thank you. Okay, now before we get into our series of questions, we're going to hear from Charlotte, a daughter who is a primary caregiver who decided to move in with her mother and took advantage of aging in place services. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so delighted you could join us here on Knowledge for Wellness. Why don't you have a seat? Now, you are the primary caregiver of your mother, and I know that it's probably hard right at first as to all of a sudden this is thrown on you, and you had some assistance with aging in place. Would you like to share that story?
Sure. My mother, now 93, just had a heart attack last January, and some other health issues this year as well.
Okay.
So now she's deemed unable to be in her home alone, unattended.
Okay.
I did move in 4 years ago, and everything was rolling along fine until this year. So my brother, 2 sisters, and myself now then were faced with what we were going to do as far as having her attended 24/7.
Yes.
I'm not able to retire. I'm still working full-time with full-time responsibilities.
Yes.
So we got together and made some modifications to the home. We
Okay.
had a ramp put in.
Nice.
We had banisters put in and cleared out some furniture. She was able to get through her health care provider for just a nominal fee, a hospital bed. So then we pursued adult day services and so glad to find Mount Olivet. It's a locked facility. We know that she's cared for well. She and also safe. She really gets along well there. She enjoys the caregivers as well as interaction with the other residents there. They even have a bath facility, so she can take a whirlpool bath. She calls it a bubble bath, and an additional wash and set every week. So it's nice to have that additional service. Now, my brother is out of town. My two sisters do live in town, but are unable to get over to the house. So I've been the major caregiver.
Yes.
I do hire a service for my for the weekends, so they come in into the home 24/7.
You get a little break as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's a little break for me, and Mom enjoys that. She enjoys staying in the home those 2 days, and then being out on the other 5 at Mount Olivet. So
Nice.
all in all, it works very well.
Yeah. And it's so nice that you work with your brother and sister and know what your mother needs or wants. You know, it's important on looking at everyone's life and having all of this come down, you know, with you guys still having your own responsibilities and your own families to take care of and your own job. And I know President Clinton did do one nice thing is that you can take family medical leave of absence, but that's only a short time.
Yes,
know,
I
so-
qualified for that at work. So if an emergency comes up, I'm able to leave work with no penalty and be with my mom. So it's has really worked out well for us. My mom has 2 small dogs. She just loves to be at the house.
Yes.
She loves to sit out in the backyard in the summer. She's had many rose bushes and flower gardens that I'm attending to now,
Yes.
but she's reaping the benefits. So.
Well, she also has all those memories of course, when all of her children were growing up in that house as well.
Exactly, and she is able to be surrounded by her things that she has brought with her from Norway. You know, to go into a facility where the living room or the facility is limited, I guess you would
Yes.
say. You can't bring everything with you. So here she's amongst all her her paintings and tapestries that were given to her from family members.
Yes.
And she's able to keep those and be in that surrounding.
Yes. And I'm sure that they mean a lot coming from her grandmother and such. So it's great to have her own environment again instead of feeling like you're in a hotel room.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. Even during holidays, it's fun to have her in her own setting and have the relatives come in. She's got the great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. Everybody lives, or most people live in the Twin Cities area, so frequent visitors, and she's just amongst family
Yes.
continually.
It's always nice to be around your loved ones, and they're probably more apt to come visit her in her home than she would if she was in another facility as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with aging in place as well.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Okay. That was such a wonderful story that we heard from Charlotte. Now, Jeff, how is it that Charlotte found out about aging in place?
Well, she is a baby boomer, and if you ask most baby boomers how they envision their care as they get older, the vast majority of them will say, I want to spend as much time as I possibly can in my home where I'm living now.
Yes.
And that idea, that wish, has evolved into this concept of aging in place. In and around the concept, the National Aging in Place Council was created. And they have a national website as a nonprofit advocacy group,
Okay.
which is ageinplace.org. And if you type Age in Place into any internet search engine, the very first search result will be the National Aging in Place Council.
Okay.
And on that page, you will find a local chapters page. And if you live in Minnesota, you naturally will be drawn into our chapter page. And on that page, you will find a resource directory for one of us.
Okay.
And specifically, you can look for what services are most important for you to start with and go from there.
Okay. Now, you talked about a variety of different ages. So what is it that Aging in Place actually, who do they actually serve? And I believe...
Yeah. Like I said before, it could be somebody who is a caregiver, who's already come into some issues or some concerns, maybe of a spouse, or like Charlotte, a mother or a father.
Yes.
It could be an aunt and uncle. It could also be somebody with some limitations that maybe is in their 40s or 50s.
Sure.
A lot of the services that we all have is supporting a caregiver as well.
Okay.
You'll hear, lots of things that are more proactive than reactive. So the
Nice.
people we serve are anybody who wants to be more safe and independent, but to be more active. A lot of the things that Joy and Jerry do is that proactive and that planning approach. So planning when we're younger and we have more time instead of crisis situation.
Yes, because all of a sudden you find out that your parents are in the hospital, and then you have to make that choice within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very important to know that. And that's where Aging in Place comes in, being very, very important as well.
Correct. And people have a comfort level with their homes, so they have choices, plus they have the comfort level in terms of not only where things are in their home, but also where they shop, where they go with their friends, church, social, and so forth.
Yes. And we all have that little community that we feel so comfortable within that 6-block area. And so, yes.
Well, in addition, I think that aging in place is going to become a necessity as much as it is a choice. In 1980, there were 5 wage earners for every person who was retired.
Oh.
By 2020, there are going to be 2.
Okay.
Medical assistance, the kinds of services that we used to rely on, they just aren't going to be there to the same extent that they are now. Most people who are lucky enough to have a home and to own it have immediately reduced the cost of care by the cost of living. So they're always going to be at an advantage. I think that public policy is going to push us towards aging in place as well as our desires.
Exactly. So does anyone want to address the importance of aging in place in now society?
Well, a number of things have changed.
Yes.
You look at the 2 generations we probably serve the most, which would be seniors, those that are now 66 and older, I guess, and baby boomers are adult children. And we've heard the word comfort, we've heard the word choice, we've heard things that people want to be, when Charlotte spoke about the comfort her mother feels when she's in her own environment.
Yes.
Baby boomers, because I am one, I can speak to them. They're kind of control freaks. They like to control their own environment. And so they are going to want to retire in a way that they want to.
Yes.
Their parents, I think I read an AARP study some years ago that said seniors pray that they will die before they have to move.
Yes.
So there's clearly a desire on their part to stay where they are. Also, in terms of just sheer capacity, our society cannot possibly handle the wave of the baby boomers aging. I read a study in 2004 that I believe people spent on average who went to a home 2.27 years in a nursing home. A study that was done in 2010 studied only people who went to nursing homes and died. And those people spent only 5 months in a nursing home. It also depended on whether if you were married. If you were married, you spent less time. If you were well-to-do, you spent less time. That being that you could pay for services that were in your home. Also, in terms of sheer capacity, most homes are converting some of their beds to short-term, to rehabilitative care or to transitional care. There won't be room for us. If we in any way fit the same trends of the past, baby boomers won't have any place to go.
No.
And finally, there's a money issue. We can't afford it.
Yes.
So one of the things that Aging in Place does is it attempts collaboratively to support generations as they age, to find all the support that they need, where they want it, how they want it, and at a price they can afford.
Yes.
And it really is intergenerational. The things that we do is to help sometimes 3 generations of the same family create and strategize and create a plan that will allow their aging loved one to comfortably, safely, and affordably stay in their home, which is the environment that they want to be in until the end of their life.
Yes. And so what is it that Aging in Place can provide for them?
Well, I think we always, sometimes we put things in categories of proactive or reactive. If there is somebody who is experiencing troubles now, calling out an adult day program, having in-home health care come in, having some sort of medical or health advocate if they can't do those things themselves.
Sure.
Having some modifications like Charlotte talked about, having a ramp, putting up some grab bars, doing some of those things that are right away, immediate needs. I think proactively we also look at, is there still an opportunity that maybe they need to make some legal and some financial changes? Joy could say how many people are on death's bed and don't have a will, or they don't have a power of attorney, or they don't have health care directives. And so those are more of the proactive things, but there's lots of things you can do to plan ahead or react and take care. It's amazing the support services that are out there.
Another way to think about it is people, when they are homebound, more and more things could be brought into them if people were creative. I mean, we've got somebody on our council chapter who is a hearing doctor in a briefcase.
Oh,
he does
nice.
house calls, he evaluates, he fits, and he does ongoing support, and the people never have to leave their home to get it.
Okay.
There's other chapters that have a veterinarian who does house calls, so they don't have to go to the veterinarian for their dog, like Charlotte's mother.
Yes.
So, in other words, services are being now moving into people's homes because they can't leave them and they don't want to leave them.
Right. When just think of how beneficial that is. You don't have that older person trying to keep their driver's license even though they can't see because they need to get to the vet or they need to get to the grocery store. And, even the groceries online now, it just seems to be so beneficial for everyone involved. That's very nice. Yes.
Well, I think one of the nice things about the Aging in Place Council is that you don't always know what you don't know. And any one of us in the Aging in Place Council can be a port of entry and may come up with those creative solutions that will help the person who's aging in place that they didn't even know could be assistance to them, that makes their life better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we meet monthly, and so let's say I speak with a new client and they tell me they don't have a healthcare power of attorney. A little light bulb immediately goes off and I think of Joy and I say, you really got to address that because if your mom ends up in hospital, you won't be able to help her if she can't communicate for herself. So I strongly recommend you talk to Joy and have that put in place at the same time or as soon as possible to make sure you don't get into a critical situation where you can't make a decision for her.
Right, and someone just explained to me that you actually have to have a signed release form now that all of my friends weren't even privy to knowing this and that they have to sign it because they cannot disclose information about a husband to a wife or a wife to a husband or your own child that's over 18 years old.
That's right. The most actually the most underserved population for healthcare directives is the 18 to 23-year-old, the invincible teenager who goes off to college, will live forever.
Yes.
Parents are shocked to find out they don't have access. But for the aging person, it's really important. For people who are in non-traditional families, even more important.
Yes.
Because there's no natural, the law does say where people can go doctors can go to look for help, whether it's the spouse or the children. But if you're in a committed relationship but you're not married, that person can be left out without the health care directive.
Right, and so I want to address one of the questions and make sure that, what are some of the more interesting services that being accounted for under aging in place in the Minnesota area. So is that someone that wants to take that?
Well, like Jeff said, a lot of the in-home, I think the trend is going, an in-home audiologist, having a veterinarian come in. I think legal. A lot of people don't realize that elder law is a specialty.
Yes.
Financial planners. There's people that specialize in just retirement planning where a lot of times people weren't doing that. What do I have to plan for? Long-term care consultations, reverse mortgages. I think that there's also a lot of people don't realize that putting up a ramp. So things that happen in your home, we look at, physical safety, financial safety, social. Think of the number of things that Charlotte mentioned that, socially, how are people engaged?
Yes.
So kind of that planning.
And rehabilitatively speaking, you can have Medicare pay for physical therapy, occupational therapy, pulmonary therapy, speech therapy in your home if you're homebound.
Right.
It's covered under your Medicare benefit. And then, Kathy is going to talk in a minute about all the technology that is evolving around aging in place.
Sure.
It's remarkable. And it's primarily to give peace of mind and reassurance to the whole family that, in fact, there are some ways that we can do this without having to use human power.
Yes.
There's a lot being done. A lot of really great monitoring devices and gadgets that families can employ. Everything from baby monitors to automatic fall detection.
Yeah. Now, Kathy, you have some devices that you want to show that Aging in Place has provided?
Absolutely, Tina. Actually, one of our members, Robin Sanders, is a technology specialist, and he's given me some fun things for show and tell today.
Nice.
Let's think about the areas that seniors need help that may be very minimal. For example, safety, monitoring, queuing. Okay. For safety, we've all seen the fobs that may hang around someone's neck. This is something similar but a little more advanced.
Okay.
It has a gel on the inside that was developed by NASA, and you wear it as you would right around your chest if you were exercising to do your heart rate. But it does not only your heart rate, but your skin temperature. It also does your pulse. It also tells someone, alerts whoever you choose to have alerted if in fact you fall down, and it monitors some of your daily activities. So that if there's a change in those daily activities, that will also create an alert to be sent.
Okay.
In terms of queuing, there is a device that will hold 28 pill doses. So you could have 4 a day, and you could do it for a week, or you could do it for almost an entire month.
Sure.
And it will set off an alarm and tell you when it's time to take your pills.
Oh.
Because sometimes we get forgetful, and if we miss a dosage, it may impact what happens to our behavior or our physical health.
Yes.
There's also one that I'm going to have Joy demonstrate for us.
Okay.
Go ahead and drop that.
Fall detected. Fall
It's saying fall detector.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, Joy, I'm going to pick it up and abort it because someone's
Fall
going to come
detected.
racing in here with
Fall detected.
an ambulance shortly.
Okay, so that actually calls 911 for you?
It does better than that. It
Okay.
calls 911. It also calls 3 other telephone numbers that you can have as your choice to be alerted. When I talked to Charlotte earlier, she said that her mom had a tendency to wander. It allows you to go to the web, and you're able to put out a fence almost in your neighborhood.
Oh.
Should you happen to have a parent or someone you're caring for that does a bit of wandering, if that person gets outside of the fence, this in fact will alert the whoever you've chosen to be alerted that you're wandering off. It also has a call button, and people do have to carry it with them, but seniors very often know if it goes to my son, I know that that's what it's for. So you have a call button on that one. Last but not least, people tend to lose their hearing, and people will say, oh, my mother's getting so quiet. Well, as we lose our friends and we can't hear anymore, we sort of recede. And one of the things that we don't do so much anymore is watch television.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about you, but I can't program my VCR. This is a flipper, and the flipper allows you to very simply handle your television and has a very loud adjustment on it. So people are able to deal with these kinds of devices. Very inexpensive. This is about $59. That's about $59. Most of the devices are very, very simple and very inexpensive. There's also a couple for other things. One of them is for socialization. There's something called Presto, which allows people to receive emails even though they don't know anything about a computer.
Oh,
It's
okay.
$15 a month, and one of the customers that I've dealt with is receiving, as we speak, photos of her granddaughter's wedding while the wedding is taking place on her Presto, which is very sweet because she couldn't attend.
Right.
There's also one more thing that I'll mention, and that is some more expensive things that are used in therapy. One of them is called the mobility lift, and it allows someone to be hoisted with a bit of a netting behind them on a very sturdy machine. They can play Wii, they can play ball, they can do all kinds of things, and it takes away their fear of falling.
Yes.
And again, some statistics have shown that if you can take away the fear of falling, it reduces falling by 70%.
Yeah, very nice, very, very nice. Now, we only have 5 minutes left, and I wanted each of you to, tell my viewers a little bit of what they can do in helping them help a loved one. And so,
Yeah.
Jeff, we'll start with you.
I think the most important thing I want to leave with the audience is to plan ahead. Imagine a river in northern Wisconsin, and a river can meander slowly, calmly, for miles, and then as it gets closer to Lake Superior, where it dumps into, it becomes a torrent eventually. And unless you know and you've been in that river before, you're not going to be prepared for the torrent, and it's going to sweep you down. Aging in place services and planning creatively with professional providers like the persons and the organizations we represent will enable you to not have to make a knee-jerk decision on behalf of your aging loved one.
Okay. And anything special you want to throw out?
Well, I don't
for
have a
my viewers?
river to talk about, but
Yes.
I think really emphasizing what Jeff said is planning ahead and not being afraid to ask and to quote or to use another anecdote is using, taking a village and really understanding that there's a lot of support out there, and utilizing friends, family, and all of the other professional services, and researching. The internet is a wonderful thing, but really using the support that's out there.
Nice. And Jerry?
Well, the best thing is, of course, to plan ahead. Without a plan, you may be in crisis. But with the various services, we can minimize the crisis. And none of us likes to purchase insurance, but we do it to transfer the risk. And so for some people, they're aware of long-term care insurance, but they probably have the myth that Medicare is going to pay for their long-term care, or it only provides for nursing home care, but it really covers all types of care to help people stay where they choose, whether it's in-home, they can have chore services, homemaker services, training for caregivers. So again, it's a good way to protect not only your assets, but gives you peace of mind.
Yeah, very nice.
On top of everything that the other folks have said, I would say that the most important thing is to build your team. Build your team of loved ones, and the best thing you can ever do in life is have a great child. If you don't have a great child, go out and get one from somebody else. Adopt them, bring them into the house. You need somebody that you can trust explicitly as you grow older. And you also need to have your professional team in place. The people who, like are in the National Aging in Place Council, people you can turn to for help so that you can have a happy old age, so you can stay where you want to be and not where circumstances land you.
Okay. And of course?
And I would say, if you tend to plan, good for you. If you don't plan well, as many people don't, and you find yourself in crisis, please know that you are not alone. We are here for you, and we offer free advice, and we will comfort you in your time of need, because there may come a time when you will need us.
Well, I want to thank you. We've run out of time, but this has just been such great information that to put out to my viewers. So I want to thank you all on your insight, of course, on all of this. But if you have any questions or would like to contact Aging in Place, please contact them at www.ageinplace.org or 1-888-829-9890. And please tune in to my other shows of Knowledge for Wellness being televised throughout the Twin City area, or view my website at www.knowledgeforwellness.com for more detailed information in your specific area. And you can also connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And the mission of Knowledge for Wellness is to inform viewers on health issues, to expose, educate, and make viewers aware, to enhance themselves and their loved ones for a better quality of life. And I hope we've provided you with more knowledge to benefit you and your loved ones. Remember, health is wealth. So until next time, be well and goodbye.
Over time you've healed so much in me, and I am living proof that although my darkest hour had come, your light could still shine through. And at times it's just enough to cast the shadow on the wall. Though I am grateful that you shine your light on me.